Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7 p.m. on LA56.
We're on storm track as rain and snow move into Southern California. We'll tell you what to expect.
Shots ring out outside a bar in Woodland Hills, leaving a man gravely wounded.
And another spike at the gas pump. Find out how much drivers are paying now. Good evening, I'm Mark Cotter-Robles.
And I'm Rudabeh Shabazi. Jory and Giovanna are off. Welcome to Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. The storm is here. Rain is already falling in Glendora, and more is on the way. And the storm is giving skiers and snowboarders something to celebrate in our local mountains. Right now, a series of storms are moving into Southern California, making for a wet and snowy weekend. Meteorologist Jonathan Novak is in for Danny Romero, and he's tracking the storm on the live Mega Doppler 7000 HD. Jonathan?
Rudabeh, folks, and we started the season off pretty poorly in terms of rain, but we are certainly seeing some good amounts of rain and snow at this point from last week to this weekend and going into the work week. Live Mega Doppler 7000 HD. I have it on the loop mode right now just to show you the coverage over the last few hours has really started filling in a bit, and we have some snow that was light around Big Bear. Now it's actually looking like the snow intensity is picking up just a bit as we see potentially some moderate snowfall here around Big Bear. Over toward Wrightwood too. You guys have been seeing snow for several hours. Some rain around Glendora. This is light rainfall. Will we see some heavy rain and potentially some flooding and issues for burn areas? Maybe. We might have some isolated storms tomorrow in the morning and afternoon, and any of those isolated storms would cause issues. Otherwise, light to moderate rainfall from Simi Valley up toward Palmdale, and some rain now extending down toward Thousand Oaks and Camarillo. We head up to the northwest just a little bit, around Santa Barbara, up toward Fraser Park. Some rain and some snow around Fraser Park. More details on the rest of the rain forecast and next week's storm system, too, in a few minutes.
Jonathan, thanks. Light rain is already falling in Glendora, and it's expected to get much heavier. People there are especially concerned. Glendora is below the Colby Fire burn area. They've been busy all week making preparations to head off flooding, mud flows, and debris. They had some big problems during a rainstorm last December. Local resident Joan Elveridge remembers.
It went down the street, but basically because it could curve, it came right up my driveway. And I was out there for 4 or 5 hours trying to pick up the mud.
What a mess. The new preparations include more K-rails, barriers, and countless sandbags.
In Big Bear and other mountain resorts, the winter snow is giving skiers and snowboarders something to cheer about as they hit the slopes. Eyewitness News reporter Melissa McBride went up to Snow Summit, which is packed with some happy snow lovers.
It's a sound skiers and snowboarders would prefer not to hear. Icy conditions are less than ideal. Local ski resorts are making snow, but fresh powder has been in short supply from Mother Nature.
There's certain places on top where it's kind of treacherous. And I'm pretty good. I've been doing this for a while, and you hit some of that ice, and it's not fun. But there's certain areas where it's like the snow has been a little more skied down, and it's good. But it looks like it's going to snow. Hopefully tomorrow is awesome.
The forecast is calling for about a foot of snow over the next few days. That has the crowds and the tourism dollars heading to Big Bear.
We're really excited because we've been waiting for this all month, and we've had one little snowstorm in the whole month of February, which is really unusual to only have one and have these warm conditions that we've had.
With the season more than halfway over, many skiers and snowboarders are hoping for a March miracle. Bob and Elvie Evans tied the knot at Snow Summit today in anticipation of the season ending early.
We love skiing, and we have friends up here. And we figured, well, we're going to do it quick before the season's over. That's why we rushed it. So Summit's one of our favorite places to come.
It was wonderful. Up on the mountain, it was really, really snowing and so windy, but it was so much fun. You can see the trees with all of these white snows all around it.
Snow Summit is open for skiing and riding tonight until 9:30. If you are coming up to the mountains tomorrow, make sure you have your chains. Reporting at Snow Summit in Big Bear, I'm Melissa McBride, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And you can use your smartphone to track the stormy weather no matter where you are with the free ABC7 Mega Doppler weather app. Download it from the iTunes App Store and Google Play. Just search Mega Doppler.
Well, there was a lot of gunfire in Woodland Hills last night. LAPD officers were called to the parking lot of J.J. Sullivan's Irish Pub on the 22,000 block of Ventura Boulevard. Shell casings were scattered all over the parking lot. Police say one man was shot. He was taken by a friend to an area hospital. Police describe his condition as grave. The reason for the gunfire is still under investigation.
A nasty rollover crash on the 71 freeway in Pomona last night, and rain could be to blame. It happened at 2 o'clock this morning near the Holt Avenue exit. Investigating CHP officers say the driver of a Chevy Tahoe lost control of the vehicle, crashed into the railing, and then rolled over. An eyewitness says the driver of that Tahoe was swerving from lane to lane.
All that I saw was a telephone pole fall down, and I'm on the farther lane. And then right after I see the telephone pole fall down, I see his car. Now I see his car flip. I see his car flipping. Now I just see it right there.
Officers say there were injuries and one person has been arrested, but they can't confirm if it was the Tahoe driver. There's no word if drugs or alcohol were a factor. In Azusa, westbound lanes of the 210 freeway were shut down overnight following a deadly collision involving a pedestrian. It happened just before midnight near Citrus Avenue. CHP says the pedestrian was running in and out of lanes on the freeway when he was struck by a car. The driver stayed at the scene. There's no word yet on the victim's identity or why he was running in traffic.
A march today in downtown Los Angeles to save the federal programs aimed at protecting millions of people from being deported. The demonstrators also support President Obama's immigration executive order. They want to protect the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals and the Deferred Action for Parent Accountability programs. Both are on hold after a judge in Texas ruled to temporarily block the president's executive order, saying legalizing the presence of millions of people is a virtually irreversible action.
A new report warns that an NFL stadium in Inglewood could pose a terrorist threat because of how close it is to LAX. The report was commissioned by AEG, which wants to build its own football stadium in downtown LA. The study states that building an 80,000-seat stadium in Inglewood increases the risk of a terrorist event. It was written by former Homeland Security Secretary Tom Ridge. A development venture linked to the Rams owner, Stan Kroenke, has proposed a stadium in Inglewood. The Hollywood Parkland Company, which is developing the Inglewood site, declined to comment on the report, as well as AEG.
A prominent Russian opposition leader has been gunned down in Moscow. Boris Nemtsov, one of Russian President Vladimir Putin's most vocal critics, was shot dead Friday night as he crossed a bridge near the Kremlin. Investigators are looking into a motive for the killing. Nemtsov's death came just hours after a radio interview in which he called on Moscow residents to join an opposition rally this weekend to protest Putin's handling of the economic crisis. Putin had condemned the killing. Meantime, President Obama, along with several other world leaders, has called for an impartial investigation into Nemtsov's death.
We now know the identity of the man behind the mask, also known as Jihadi John. Tonight, ABC's Brian Ross has new details about his past.
New details tonight offer clues about the path from British schoolboy to jihad for Mohammed Emwazi. At the age of 11, teachers already saw a violent streak, and he told them of his love of graphic video games, including Duke Nukem, Time to Kill. 10 years later, as a London college student sporting an American baseball cap, Emwazi earned a degree in computer programming. And now authorities and analysts say they believe Emwazi is using those computer programming and gaming skills as part of the ISIS video propaganda team.
We'll begin to slaughter your people on your streets.
Not only casting himself as the front man in the gruesome beheadings, but also working behind the scenes with a group of young men with British accents and laptops, as seen in this recruitment video, featuring yet another Briton recruit.
This is where most of the media work happens, on this little desk here.
Former hostages describe Emwazi as one of 4 especially sadistic British captors who they nicknamed the Beatles: John, George, Paul, and Ringo, who especially targeted the Americans in their custody.
We were together. We were together all the time, even when they brutalized us.
And for all of Emwazi's notoriety as Jihadi John, the former hostages say the one they called George was the true leader of the group. All 4 have been high on the U.S. airstrike target list, even before the name of Jihadi John became public.
That was Brian Ross reporting. British authorities had kept Mwazi's name a secret in hopes that he might give away his location by trying to reach out to family and friends.
Iraq's prime minister is vowing to track down and punish those responsible for smashing rare ancient artifacts. The Islamic State group released a video showing militants using sledgehammers to smash the statues in Mosul. The vandalism drew global condemnation. The destruction is part of a campaign by the extremists who have destroyed a number of shrines. They're also believed to have sold ancient artifacts on the black market to finance their bloody campaign.
A new report shows identity theft remains the top concern of American consumers. There's been a rash of recent security breaches, including those at Home Depot and Anthem Health Insurance. Those two incidents potentially affected tens of millions of Americans. But there's another concern. That's of crooks falsely claiming to be government officials and trying to gather personal information from victims. The Federal Trade Commission says they received about 160,000 complaints last year. That's more than twice the number of complaints from the previous year.
Police in Sausalito are on the lookout for a thief who used a high-tech device to break into a professional athlete's car. The man was caught on surveillance video as he approached the victim's car and tapped the passenger's door handle. The door is unlocked, and the man was able to walk away with a suitcase and a $15,000 custom bike. The owner was home the entire time.
The way that he went into the car and he got the bike out and, just knew exactly what he was doing.
Well, Sarah Piampiano, who is a professional triathlete, is grateful her sponsor can provide a new bike, but police say the advice they give remains the same. If there's value, don't leave it in your car.
Coming up on Eyewitness News, prices at the pump are on the rise. How long will it last?
And a scary sight in Massachusetts where the roof of an ice rink collapsed with a youth hockey team inside. The latest when Eyewitness News returns. What's this?
The good old stick shift manual transmission. It's kind of becoming a thing of the past. Or is it? I'm car specialist Dave Coons. I'll show you the cars that are sticking with the stick and the ones that surprisingly aren't. I'll have that story coming up.
A close call for a youth hockey team in Massachusetts. Look at this. The roof of the rink where they were practicing partially collapsed. The kids were in the locker room when the rear part of the building, the roof at least, buckled. One coach was on the ice and was propelled across the rink by air pressure from that collapse. The team got out safely along with parents, coaches, and rink workers. The building's front facade was also damaged. State and local inspectors are now evaluating the building.
Well, we are on storm track. Jonathan is tracking it all for us. Rain already falling in parts of the Southland. Jonathan, what are you seeing out there?
That's my hometown, guys.
Is
Kingston.
it?
Yeah.
Are you making that up?
Canton, Massachusetts.
Wow.
We've seen a lot of pictures from there, actually, for weather pictures.
Right. My mom said they had to spend several $100s just to get people to take the snow off the roof because of the chance of things like that happening with roofs collapsing because of all the snow on the East Coast. But for us, it's been beautiful as of late, except we had a storm last weekend. Good. This weekend, very good. And we got another one to talk about, too, in your 7-day. But Malibu time-lapse shows the clouds are rolling in and some rain with it today as we head into tonight. Even more expected. Big Bear, snow. Yes. We got people enjoying the slopes. Live Megadopoulos 7000 HD. Let's get into it now. Here's that snow. As we move in to the mountain areas, this snow has been continuing on through the afternoon and early evening. It will continue to be the case as we go in through tonight and through tomorrow morning. Light snowfall, I should say, around Big Bear and Wrightwood, and some rain south of that around Glendora, which looks like it might be drying up just a bit right now. In Pomona, Ontario, you are also seeing some light rainfall. Up to the west of that, some scattered activity that's been filling in around Santa Clarita, up near Palmdale, and then southwest towards Simi Valley and Fillmore, and even down further south around Thousand Oaks and Hidden Hills. We head to the west of that, and again, more spotty activity around Santa Barbara, between Santa Barbara and up around Fraser Park. So what can we expect for the rest of tonight? More of this, pretty much, as this area of low pressure hangs around the central part of the state. It's going to be continuing to pump in the moisture, provide some instability, and that's going to mean those chances of rain will continue tonight and through tomorrow, and we'll bring that moisture continuing on in through tomorrow night. I think tomorrow night we'll really kind of see a bit of a break of sorts, at least relatively speaking, and then Monday kick it into high gear again with another storm system on Monday. So let me start you off Sunday 4 a.m. because we'll start seeing some heavier rainfall around then. We have that chance, in fact, of some storms Sunday morning into the afternoon time. See this right here? This is some moderate rainfall potentially around Santa Clarita over to Santa Barbara, and some snow still in the mountains. There's that break Sunday night. Of sorts. We might have some spotty activity, but it fills back in again Monday, 11 a.m., all the way into Tuesday. We could see rainfall totals about 1.5 inches potentially at the foothills. Otherwise, about 0.5 inch to 1 inch in the valleys, and I'd say maybe about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch at the coast, and then snowfall totals I'll show you in a second. Wow, it's going to look like really nice stuff for you guys in the mountains. 7-8 for the LA Metro and Orange County area. Temperatures in the low to mid-60s for the next few days. Clouds and rain around. We'll have a bit of a break Sunday into early Monday, and otherwise expect some showers here and there. Valleys, i.e., 50% chance of rain Monday into Tuesday, and for tonight you can expect the rain to be on and off through tomorrow afternoon. The beach, cloudy, cool, and wet, about 0.5 inch at the top end of your rainfall totals, and the mountains could see as much as 1 foot of snow over 7,000 feet. Otherwise, I'd say 5 to 10 inches, and then more rain and snow expected Monday to Tuesday for you. Highs only in the 30s. The high desert highs in the 50s, a cool one, and some showers for the next 3 days on and off for you guys. More weather coming up in a few minutes. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan.
You're welcome.
Recent changes at the Golden Gate Bridge toll plaza and the bridge itself may be to blame for a rise in accidents. There have been nearly 30 collisions in 46 days since January 12th. During the same period last year, there were just 5. The Bridge District claims the impacts are more severe, and that's why more incidents are being reported. The recent changes include the new movable barrier, which some drivers have hit.
It appeared to be adequate for my coach, and I was going about 3 or 4 miles an hour, and all of a sudden crunch, and so I got a busted front end.
The theory is that we're not having any more collisions than we had before. It's just that the impact to the vehicles is a little more severe.
The Bridge District says the new barriers comply with federal regulations. They're no wider than the previous ones, but tougher on cars and tougher to repair. Since the increase in crashes, the bridge has added white channelizers and signs for wider loads. Both the district and the CHP cite speed as a factor in many of those incidents.
Do you know someone who loves to drive a car with a manual transmission?
Well, they are a dying breed these days as fewer and fewer cars offer them. But as car specialist Dave Kuhn shows us, the manual transmission is alive and well, in some cars anyway.
The Chevrolet SS is a true high-performance sedan, a thrilling 4-door muscle car. It comes with a nice big V8 engine, and at about $45,000, it has every feature a buyer could want. But initially, it also came with one feature a lot of performance car buyers don't want, an automatic transmission. So Chevy is adding the choice of a 6-speed manual this year to make peace with those who rather shift their own gears and work a clutch pedal. Performance cars are one area where manuals still enjoy some popularity. Though not always these days. The new ultra-powerful Corvette Z06 comes with either an 8-speed automatic or a 7-speed manual. But if you want a new Porsche 911 Turbo with a manual, sorry, you'll be out of luck. Same goes for the top exotic Ferrari and Lamborghini models. The Dodge Viper, however, goes old school, a stick shift to go with its V10 engine. No automatic is even offered. Here's a 2015 car with a conventional 6-speed manual transmission. It makes it a lot more fun to drive. Is this a sports car or a high-performance sports coupe? Nope. It's one of the best-selling sedans in the country, the Honda Accord. While compact cars are generally available with manuals, mid-size cars are another matter. It seems that most buyers today aren't interested, but Honda is sticking with the stick as an option on its Accord, including in the aptly named Sport. You are out of luck, though, in the Toyota Camry, Nissan Altima, or Ford Fusion, all of which used to be available with manuals. Only Mazda joins Honda in this group and offers a manual. You can still get a stick in the mid-size Volkswagen Passat, too, though you may have a tough time finding one. Automatics vastly outnumber manuals on dealer lots. The manual may be fading away, but there are still some holdouts. If you do like to move a shift lever around, you have to shop carefully. But you can be among the faithful, shifting for themselves. Dave Coons, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And there have been some cases lately where young car thieves tried to steal or carjack a car with a manual transmission, but then once inside realized it was a manual and then had to walk away. So sometimes a stick can be a theft deterrent as well.
Grinding the gears. It seems like every day now the price at the pump is getting more expensive. No one likes that. Here now is the proof. Some of the averages in the LA Long Beach area. Prices have jumped 7 cents since yesterday. At $3.47 a gallon, that is a whopping 48 cents higher in just 1 week. The Auto Club of Southern California says a gallon of unleaded is selling for $3.46 in Orange County. That's up 93 cents in the past month. In the Inland Empire, drivers are paying about $3.39 a gallon, a jump of about $1 in a month. And in Ventura County, it is $3.46 a gallon.
A driver gets busted, but it's his mugshot that has people talking. Still to come, more on this guy and his ironic choice of clothing.
And a boy who loves superheroes is now being called one himself. We'll have details on what this 5-year-old did that helped save his mother's life. A Texas man is under arrest for his 9th DWI, but it is his mugshot that is getting a lot of the talk. Take a look. It is the shirt that Luciano Gutierrez was wearing for this recent arrest. The shirt reads, quote, "Warning, I do dumb things," end quote. He was arrested Thursday. His last arrest for DWI was just 3 months ago. Of course, that's no laughing matter. The charge was enhanced to a felony because he has more than 3 convictions for the offense.
He gets points for self-awareness. A Northern California girl is being hailed a hero for her quick thinking that saved her brother's life. 11-year-old Rosie Carino was at a playground with her little brother Sergio in Stockton Thursday when he stepped into the street. She saw a car racing toward him and pushed him out of the way. The car missed Sergio but swiped Rosie instead. Still, this little hero says she was more concerned about her brother's safety.
Car was coming, my friend scooped back and I pulled my brother out of the way, and by the time I turned around and pulled my brother out of the way, the car had already hit me and I spinned. That was my first instinct to push my brother out of the way. You saved my life.
Rosie went to the hospital with a fractured pelvis and bruising, but she is okay. That hit-and-run driver sped away, and police are now looking at city cameras to try to catch him.
And you saw even Sergio had a bump on his forehead from the fall, but again, glad everyone is okay. A 5-year-old boy in Ohio who loves superheroes turned into one himself when his mother became trapped.
Yeah, she had just gotten out of her car to grab something from the house when she had a paralyzing realization.
I didn't have the car in park.
She ran back to the car, her 2 boys still inside, but high snowbanks got in the way. She tried to jump in, reaching for the brake with her hand, but got pinned between the car door and a tree. At that point, she had no choice but to ask her 5-year-old son, Miller, for help.
She told me to run up to her neighbor's house.
He came upstairs and he said, "You have to come help. Mommy's not breathing." She looked at me and she said, "Don't let me die like this in front of my kids."
Her neighbor was able to back up the car, slowly releasing her. She managed to walk away, though she did have a few bruised ribs. The irony of all of it, her son Miller was wearing his Superman cape the whole time.
Ah, chilling. Again, another story. Glad everyone's okay and a cool kid, to get the job done. Still ahead, we are updating our top stories at 7:30, including the latest on a weekend storm hitting Southern California.
And while we're seeing some wet weather here, states across the country are seeing snow. Some of that winter weather causing flight cancellations, leaving passengers stranded for hours.
And all eyes in the political world are looking ahead to the 2016 presidential race. We'll have details on a potential GOP contender who may have gotten a big boost from the conservative base.
Plus, a record-setting drug seizure at a Southern California border checkpoint. The details after the break.
live from ABC7. This is Eyewitness News at 7:30 p.m. on LA56.
Our top story at 7:30, get ready for a stormy weekend. Rain and snow are hitting Southern California. I'm Renovations.
And I'm Mark Robles. Jory and Giovanna are off. This is Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7:30 p.m. You see here, skiers and snowboarders are already enjoying the snow up at Big Bear, and more is on the way. Southern California bracing for some wet winter weather. Meteorologist Jonathan Novak is here to tell us what exactly to expect.
Love it, don't you? You get the rain, get the snow, 2 weekends in a row, and more to come, folks. We'll talk about it a little bit later as far as the forecast goes, but right now, check it out. This is over the last few hours, things starting to fill in. The rain and the snow around Southern California. Let's zoom on into the Big Bear area and Wrightwood. You guys have been seeing snow pretty much the last few hours, increasing a little bit in intensity according to the latest echoes on the live Mega Doppler 7000 HD around Big Bear. Wrightwood's got some decent snow going right now. South of that, around Glendora, things are drying up a bit. And over to the south and east of you around Ontario and Chino, get some light rainfall too. By the way, Glendora and other areas where we might have to be concerned about burn areas, we might have some storms tomorrow in the first half of the day, even into the afternoon potentially. Those storms could be troublemakers if that happens. Otherwise, it's light to moderate rainfall expected around Simi Valley, stretching up right now toward about the Palmdale area. Hidden Hills over to Camarillo, light rainfall there for you. You hear me saying light rainfall a lot. Nothing too significant at this moment. Even Santa Barbara, just east of you, some spotty activity. Up to the north, there's more to come. I'll tell you about how long the rain lasts coming up in that full 7-day forecast.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan.
You're welcome.
A wicked winter storm pelts parts of Texas and Oklahoma, causing a nightmare for weekend travelers. Heavy freezing rain has slickened roads, and by late this morning, it forced Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport to cancel nearly 1,000 flights. About 5,000 stranded passengers had to spend the night at one of the nation's busiest airports after another 600 flights were canceled yesterday. ABC's Daria Albinger shows us how some unlucky flyers face delay after delay.
Don't want to ever do that again.
American Airlines Flight 382 was supposed to be a simple one-hour trip from Dallas to Oklahoma City. Instead, it turned into a journey of frustration, anger, and false hope.
We were happy one second because we thought we were leaving, and then the next second we were just deflated because we were returning back to the gate.
This bad dream, all thanks to bad weather and bad timing. Passengers documenting the frustration with their cell phone cameras.
At one point they decided they would give us crackers and chips and whatever, and that I guess depleted the entire supply. The next 6 hours there was nothing.
At one point, the chaotic scene looked like this. Passengers raiding the liquor fridge.
It was kind of a mix of comedy and anger.
American Airlines tells ABC News, "We apologize for the frustrating experience. Yesterday was a challenging day at DFW due to extreme weather impacting North Texas. The safety of our passengers and employees is always our top priority." The airline says it did not break the law because passengers were never held on the actual tarmac for longer than the 3-hour limit set by the Passengers' Bill of Rights.
I think they're being a little too clever by half. America's really trying to defend the indefensible here.
Inside the airport, more frustration. Hundreds of flights canceled. Some passengers spent hours on planes that never left, then had to spend more hours standing in line.
Well, now where are we going to go?
Flight 382 did eventually take off and land safely, but for some people, the experience was not worth repeating.
I'm not flying American again.
Daria Albinger, ABC News, New York.
In an effort to crack down on illegal smuggling, the nation's busiest airport will now screen its employees before their shifts. It comes in the wake of a gun smuggling operation that led to the arrest of a Delta baggage handler. The original policy at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport did not require bag and body check screenings for its so-called back-of-the-airport employees. Their bags and personal belongings will now be checked before they're allowed to enter.
With just minutes before funding was set to expire, President Obama signed a one-week bill to keep the Homeland Security Department open. Late last night, the House approved a 7-day extension after the Senate cleared the measure. That means a partial shutdown of Homeland Security has been averted for now. Democrats are hopeful the dispute can be resolved in the next week, allowing the funding for the rest of the year.
Conservative Republicans were out in full force this weekend as presidential hopefuls eyeing next year's race for the White House lined up and flexed their muscles in what's considered the starting gun of the Republican primary campaign. ABC's David Wright has more.
The favorite son at this annual gathering of conservative activists is a senator promising the largest tax cut in U.S. history.
My tax plan will get the IRS out of your life and out of the way of every job creator in America.
Rand Paul gets bragging rights for winning the straw poll, but that's it. The first primaries are still about a year away. No one has officially announced, but judging from the turnout here, plenty of people thinking of throwing their hats in the ring. When former Governor Jeb Bush spoke, there were some audible boos.
For those that made a ooh sound, is that what it was?
Well,
I'm marking them down as neutral, and I want to be your second choice.
But Bush didn't back down from his call for immigration reform, knowing full well many in this crowd disagree with him.
We should give them a path to legal status where they work, where they don't receive government benefits.
Good evening. Aye. Governor Scott Walker made an unforced error. Asked if he has the experience to take on ISIS, he cited his battle with Wisconsin teachers.
If I can take on 100,000 protesters, I can do the same across the world.
Nobody was beheading anybody in Wisconsin.
No, but I said nobody else has that experience. No one in the House, the Senate, no other candidate.
The candidates still honing their message. The race just getting started. David Wright, ABC News, National Harbor, Maryland.
Meantime, Chris Christie spent his day in California courting Republican donors for his political action committee. He addressed a crowd of about 500 people at a lunch today in Sacramento. He's had a tough time, though, securing donations so far in the crowded field of potential candidates. He's urged the crowd not to rush to find a front runner, reminding them we are still 21 months away from the election. After the lunch, Christie traveled here to Southern California to attend another donor reception.
A record-setting marijuana seizure at the Otay Mesa border crossing south of San Diego. Customs agents say a 46-year-old truck driver tried to cross into California with 15 tons of pot. The 1,200 packages have a street value of nearly $19 million. The truck was stacked from floor to ceiling with plastic-wrapped packages of marijuana. The driver, a Mexican citizen with a valid border crossing card, has been turned over to customs agents. His border crossing card has been canceled.
The LAPD is asking for your help in identifying a suspect who ran over and killed a woman in North Hollywood. It happened around 8:20 last night as the woman was crossing Satacoy Street at the intersection of Lemp Avenue. Witnesses described the vehicle as a white Toyota Tacoma pickup truck. Police say the driver did not stop to help the woman who died at the scene. If you have any information, you are urged to call police at 1-877-LAPD 24/7.
Friends and family of a man shot to death in his car last weekend held a memorial along the Santa Ana riverbank in Anaheim today. About 80 people paid tribute to Tremel Curl, who was killed in South LA last Saturday. The victim, also known as TK, loved to fish on the river, so his fishing buddies invited TK's family to join them in a celebration of his life.
We didn't expect for all this family to come, but we're glad you did. Yeah. Because we wanted you guys to meet his other family, you know, because he was always with us, you know, and he was always right here fishing with us, and it was just one of those things where we wanted to pay tribute to somebody.
LA County Sheriff's homicide detectives are searching for several suspects in the fatal shooting.
Up next, it is mind over metal for some unique people in Hollywood.
Still to come on Eyewitness News, we'll show you how World Sword Swallowers Day was being celebrated at Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Plus, spring is just around the corner and some local athletes will have a new place to play. The details when we return. Major renovations were unveiled today at the Jackie Tatum Harvard Park in South Los Angeles. The LA Bureau of Engineering partnered with the Department of Recreation and Parks, adding in new grass, bleachers, and fencing. The project also included smart irrigation and a new electrical system. One of the new fields was dedicated to Frank Garnett, who taught for more than 4 decades and was the first black man to coach baseball in the LAUSD.
Well, if you didn't know it, how could you miss it? Today is World Sword Swallowers Day. We caution you, some people might find this video disturbing. To mark the occasion, Ripley's Believe It or Not held an exhibition on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. One sword swallower then did a backflip and cartwheels with the sword still in place. Alex Megalov, who's from Moldova in Eastern Europe, says he arrived in the U.S. 3 years ago and didn't know English. He saw a sword swallower on TV and became intrigued.
I just was so inspired, so I got a sword down the street on Hollywood Boulevard and started to perform like on the other side of Hollywood Boulevard. That's how I, start to swallow swords, make some money, and here I am.
Ripley's Believe It or Not says it has an app where people can virtually try swallowing swords on their own. I don't know what that means, but it sounds better than really swallowing.
Yeah, virtually. I'll go that way, but unbelievable. I can't even imagine being able to do that, geez, or wanting to for that matter. We are seeing a little bit of rain and snow here in Southern California, but the East Coast is getting pounded.
They have so much snow. People are doing anything they can to get rid of it, including selling it. We'll explain.
And the NBA loses another great. Coming up in sports, what Doc Rivers is saying after the death of Anthony Mason. While shoveling snow in their yard, a couple of Massachusetts came up with an idea to get rid of the record amount that the state has had. Sell it. Kyle and Jessica Waring were just joking about selling the snow and shipping it out of state, but then decided to actually do it. They set up a website called Ship Snow Yo. They've had more than 175 orders and are now treating the joke as a serious business.
It was not as easy as I thought, and you know, it is somewhat more of a serious endeavor now.
And you want to talk about a serious business? Let's talk about the money. 6 pounds of snow is $89, 14 pounds is $169, and called a blizzard in a box. The company will not sell snow to any customers that are in the state. The couple says Massachusetts already has enough.
The name is the best part.
Yeah.
Snip.
See, it's a mouthful.
Ship snow,
Ship,
yo.
Snow, yo.
Ship snow, yo.
We're buyers.
Anyway, Jonathan, they're in your hometown, right?
Yeah, why would anybody in Massachusetts want them to send them snow anyway? They have the rule.
No, they're not sending to Massachusetts.
I know, but like that's an issue, right? Why? If I'm in Massachusetts, I'm not going to ask you for those things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
anyway,
I know what you're saying.
That's my thought. They've got plenty of snow. They've had several feet, 5, 6 feet. My mom has sent pictures of icicles taller than I am, which of course it's 6'4". All right, live Meteorological 7000 HD. Showing more and more activity as the day has gone on, and it looks like it's filling in a little bit around portions of LA County, even down around the Big Bear Lake area. We've got some snow that's been basically staying there for several hours, and it's nothing too heavy, but it's there. Also around Wrightwood, too. You guys have some snow showing up, some echoes on that live Meteorological 7000 HD. Glendora is drying up now. You had some rain a little bit earlier. Now some rain over to the east of you around Chino North. And let's head to the west of that, and you'll see some shower activity. And again, this is all light right now, light to moderate. Basically from Palmdale, stretching just west of there, all the way down to Northridge and over to Simi Valley and even south toward about Thousand Oaks and Camarillo. So will we see any flooding potential around the burn areas with any of this rain? Not this rain, but as we go through tomorrow morning and the afternoon, we have the potential for some thunderstorm activity that could fire up as this main area of low pressure moves in. That could happen and we could see some trouble there. Otherwise, it's just real broken activity to the west of the area. That's kind of how it's going to be, at least for the next, I'd say, several hours into the morning time. And then things will pick up a little bit in the morning into the afternoon. Satellite and radar showing this area low pressure really digging in this trough in the west coast, bringing a lot of energy, a lot of moisture to the area, and that means snow, it means rain. This is a cold system, a very cold system, so temperature is going to be dropping the snow level down to about 4,000 feet, so a winter storm warning, the San Bernardino County Mountains, and also a winter weather advisory. In the LA and Ventura County Mountains, we could see upwards of a foot of snow around Big Bear, and elsewhere too in the mountains as well, but I'd say that's at the top end of things. Sunday 1 p.m., I just want to show you here, the rain is still around the area, snow still in the mountains. We get a break Sunday night, and then another system comes through on Monday into Tuesday. Area-wide, it looks like light to moderate rainfall potentially. Again, a third system here. One last weekend, one this weekend, and another one Monday to Tuesday potentially. Good stuff. We needed some help, and we're getting it. Even though it's kind of the end of February here, we'll take it. Better late than never, as they say. 7-8 for LA Metro and Orange County. Few days here of cooler, wet weather, and then we'll warm it up on Wednesday on. It looks beautiful next week. The Valley's IE, you've got a 50% chance for the next system. You can guarantee some on and off showers here for the next 24 hours. The next system, Monday to Tuesday, and then we'll dry it out for you as well. The beach, cloudy, cool, maybe half an inch of rain for you. I'd say the valleys you're going to see maybe about an inch at the most, and the foothills could see about an inch and a half, and the mountain areas could see, like I said, about a foot of snow in the highest elevations, maybe even more. Temperatures in the 30s for a few days, into the 40s and 50s next week, and the high desert's looking cool, cloudy, rainy, and dry starting next Wednesday on. More weather tonight at 11 o'clock on ABC7. Back to you guys.
We'll be here. Okay. Jonathan, thanks. Time now for sports with Kurt Sandoval.
I'm still trying to figure out, Rhoda and Mark, the profit margin on refrigerated trucks
coming
from UMass to here, right?
Oh, yeah, the truck.
He's going to end up like Frosty in Frosty the Snowman. It's just going to be a big puddle on my lawn, right? Let's get to sports. Smarter than we are. The calendar hits March tomorrow. Can you believe that? That means the UCLA basketball team is making its final push for the big Lambada and all that madness. Now, Sunday, not Saturday, they take on Washington at Pauley Pavilion. SC under the lights tonight, trying to stay out of the cellar, if you will. They play Washington State, if you will. Got that reversed. UCLA plays Washington State. All right, as you can see, some sad news to pass along. Former NBA forward Anthony Mason passed away early this morning after battling congenital heart disease. He played 13 years in the league, helped the Knicks get to the NBA Finals 21 years ago. He was a fan favorite in his 5 years with the Knicks under Pat Riley. Sad that he was only 48 years of age. And Clippers head coach weighed in on the passing of his former teammate today, saying, "The passing of Anthony Mason is so sad. He was a true warrior, great teammate. He embodied what it meant to be a Knick. I loved him, and my prayers go out to his family. End quote. Well, look who is checking out top-ranked Kentucky against Arkansas. Phil Jackson clearly looking for a big man for the Knicks. He has to be looking at that man. Trey Lyles, he had 4 dunks in the first 20 minutes. Wait a minute. Karl Anthony Towns is who he's got to be looking for. He's going to be a first-round pick. A couple of first-round picks. No, wait a minute. Willie Cauley-Stein, that would be they've got probably 3 guys going in the first round. And so Phil's got his choice. And by the way, if you're wondering how good is Kentucky, 29-0. They whipped the Razorbacks 84-67. On to baseball, Dodgers continue their preps to start spring training games on Wednesday. It won't come soon enough for this reporter. One of the things the team's going to have to get used to is this slow play rules. Major League Baseball, the front office in New York, has put these rules into play. And today from Camelback Ranch, Donnie Baseball, Don Mattingly, says he doesn't believe his team's going to have issues with it.
I think the biggest thing with the pace of play is, they're announcing the inning break at 40. You know what I mean? They're announcing the first hitter with 40 seconds left on that clock. At 25, the walk-up music's got to be off. At 20, he's got to be in the box. You know what I mean? Those type of things are just things that our guys are going to have to get used to. I think once they get used to this, it's not going to be an issue. It's like anything else. Guys are going to adjust.
I'm one of the guys that I'm against it. I don't care how long it takes for a game. I want the winner. It doesn't matter if they played it 15 minutes faster. Just get it right.
Not good for fans.
Yeah, some fans won't go to games because they're so long. So I think that's part of the issue.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what happens.
Thanks, Kurt.
Thank you.
You bet.
Well, new tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7, Inglewood's mayor speaks out about a scathing report warning of a possible terror threat if a football stadium is built there. And caught on camera, a thief steals a package right off a front porch. And the package contains a special parachute for a hang glider. Those stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7.
And coming up next here on Eyewitness News on LA56, looking for something to do this weekend? I'm always good for a movie.
Well, we'll run down what's new in theaters after the break.
The box office domination of 50 Shades of Grey will likely come to an end this weekend. It's Will Smith who will be seeing green thanks to his new thriller. Entertainment guru George Pinocchio gives us the rundown on what's new in theaters.
Human behavior is very predictable. I touch you here, I steal from here.
In the new thriller Focus, Will Smith plays a master con man who takes a young, attractive woman under his wing. He quickly realizes he's met his match, and things get ultra complicated when they become romantically involved. But who's conning who? Smith and co-star Margot Robbie share some saucy scenes, and the 46-year-old star says he has a hard time considering himself a sex symbol.
It's so strange because that's not how I think of myself. You know, I've always used comedy to attract women. So for women to, the sexy thing is just awkward. It's just awkward.
Focus is rated R.
Hey, sweetheart, it's me.
In The Lazarus Effect, a group of medical students discovers a way to bring dead patients back to life. At first, it seems like a good idea for these researchers, but they quickly realize that resurrecting the dead has some pretty creepy consequences. Olivia Wilde and Mark Duplass are part of the cast in this PG-13 thriller.
This isn't a very glamorous job.
New and in limited release, Maps to the Stars. Oscar winner Julianne Moore plays an aging actress desperate for a comeback, and Mia Wasikowska as the peculiar young woman who becomes her assistant. John Cusack and Robert Pattinson also star in this R-rated film.
Because of the deteriorating security situation in Belfast, you won't be deployed there on an emergency basis.
Unbroken's Jack O'Connell stars in 71. The story takes place over a single night in the life of a young British soldier accidentally abandoned by his unit following a riot on the streets of Belfast in 1971. George Pinocchio, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
We've heard one person's trash is another one's treasure, and that was certainly the case this week in Canada, where one thrifty shopper made an out-of-this-world find. Check this out. It is the actual spacesuit worn aboard the International Space Station by astronaut Chris Hadfield. He's the one who sang Space Oddity while in space. His suit somehow made its way to a thrift shop in Toronto, where one lucky shopper made the discovery. She bought the authentic suit for just $40.
Very cool. Imagine someone that would have bought it and had no idea, thinking it was just, a Halloween costume. Pretty cool, right?
Crazy, amazing. Well, thanks for joining us for Eyewitness News at 7 here on LA56.